Hello and welcome back to 20th Century Dude. In the previous video I mentioned that we'd be doing a video on Betamax now that I finally have enough beta tapes to make up an entire collection to show off. There's about, I want to say maybe 20-ish, more than that probably, I don't know, because I didn't exactly take a count. But now I have enough to actually keep my player busy for a while, so we're going to begin first off with Aliens. And I know the cover is deceiving, but it is indeed a beta. So what ended up happening when beta sales were plunging in the 80s because, well, not as many people were buying them, they had to I don't know if you can see there, they had to put special adapters inside VHS cases and put beta stickers on them. That way they can attempt to sell their tapes. Now, if you were a person that wasn't looking at all and thought that you were bringing home a VHS for your VHS machine, but ended up being a beta, well then confusion galore. So that attempt to sell beta back in the day probably did not help. As far as this movie's concerned, this is my only theatrical copy of Aliens. Apparently I picked up a much longer extended edition of the movie on DVD, so I have two different ways of watching it. I also got it because I accidentally forgot that I bid on it on eBay. I just kind of threw in something oh, okay, yeah, whatever, cool. And then I ended up winning the bid, which is something I never do, and then I ended up bringing this movie home for I think almost $2. So yeah, that's pretty nice. Up next we have Footloose. This is one of the few movies, I don't know if you saw the video previously of all my recent pickups, but I showed off some betas yesterday. I didn't show off the complete set, obviously, because I wanted to save it for this video. But I'm pretty sure, if I remember from yesterday, that this is one of the movies that I showed off. And of course, most of the movies I actually have in the collection, I've never seen. So I'm interested to see what they're like. And speaking of movies I have not seen, we have Ten Commandments, the 50s one, because apparently Cecil B. DeMille also did one in the 1920s. So technically this is a remake of sorts. But not a lot of people know about the Ten Commandments from the 1920s. Both, of course, were special effects spectaculars. And as you can see here, the movie is long enough that it needs 2 tapes to play it. And as far as movies I have seen, obviously Godfather was a no-brainer for this one. So, of course, being that the Godfather stuff is some of the greatest movies ever made, of course I had to come pick that up. Unfortunately, the first tape, as you can see here, it doesn't really work that well. This is that rolling thing you've seen on TV sometimes, if a tape head is out of alignment or bad TV signal. But at least the second half of the movie here, it does work. So I'm going to be really disappointed that maybe I'll be able to see half a movie. Although technically the first VHS set I had of this movie, it was the second tape that was broken and the first tape that worked. So I don't know. Maybe I ought to just watch the first half on VHS and continue it on beta. I don't know. It's going to be very odd, but here we are. But thankfully, part 2 in its entirety, from what I can tell, appears to be in working order. Now, as far as Godfather stuff on beta, this is as far as it goes for me right now. I've yet to find part 3, although I'm sure part 3 is probably floating out there somewhere. Beta did not completely die by 1990, but I'm going to guess it's probably not going to be as common. Of course, I know part 3 is nobody's favorite, but I mean, it is what it is. Might as well complete the trilogy. We have some rental copies coming up. We have the very first Mad Max movie. So now I have this on VHS in an extremely nice box set, and this movie on beta. So I have two different ways of watching it. And the quality here is, it's a bit iffy. Obviously, it's a rental tape, so it's not going to be as nice as other tapes. But for at least 2/3 of the movie, it has a very washed out sound to it. So definitely very worn out. So I'm going to guess that either one, somebody did not take very good care of it and probably left it out in the sun or something. Again, not something you're supposed to do with any format. Or B, maybe it was just played so many times and it was basically worn out to death. I don't know. So this might be kind of a watch once on this format kind of a thing. And here's a movie from the 70s I thought was okay. It's called Rollerball. Has James Caan in it. I don't know if any of you are familiar with this one. It's one of the many sci-fi dystopian movies of that era. And again, I mean, I thought it was okay, but nothing I'm probably gonna rewatch soon, because I wasn't super invested by it. We have here a rental copy of a movie I can't really find any information about. It's called One-Armed Executioner. I didn't even see a Wikipedia page or an IMDb or anything for this movie. I somehow found it on Tubi. They have it there, and the Internet Archive. It's from Paragon Video Productions. And I'm also going to guess that this is some kind of schlocky B movie. So maybe this is the kind of thing that Red Letter Media would show on Best of the Worst. Again, I don't know. But if it is schlocky movie garbage, then I'm going to be in for a real treat for sure. And here's a movie that, of course, we have to have it. The Private Eyes of Tim Conway and Don Knotts. I don't know if any of you are familiar with this movie at all. I've seen this a bunch of times. I have it on VHS too, so again, we have two different ways of watching the movie now, which is nice. Private Eyes is one of those movies where if you just need something something to laugh at and you just don't have no idea what else to watch, and The Private Eyes is just kind of the movie. It's alright, well, why not just sit down for an afternoon and watch it? And I already have this movie on the Laserdisc, and I really, really liked it. The Untouchables from Brian De Palma, which is based on the TV show from the 50s and 60s, I believe. And of course, that was based on the events and life story of Eliot Ness from the 1920s and 30s. So, of course, it made sense to get this one on beta. Oh, and here's a cleaner tape. So, obviously, you're going to need one of these things for no matter what kind of VCR you own. VHS, beta, it doesn't matter. It's always good to have a cleaner. And now, we're moving on to some Hitchcock. We have The Man Who Knew Too Much. This is actually the second Man Who Knew Too Much, because the other one was actually, 1930s with Peter Lorre. So very early Hitchcock. And this is technically a remake, although depending on what's actually similar in the movie is, of course, your best judgment, not mine. Because a lot of times they don't have anything alike other than, well, the title. And I also have this movie on VHS as well. Have some more Hitchcock. We have Torn Kern with Paul Newman and Julie Andrews. Out of all the stuff in the 60s, I thought this one was fine, but it's nowhere near my favorite. I think you can tell from Psycho to Topaz that it was definitely going downhill a little bit in quality. you have like stuff like Psycho and The Birds at the beginning of the decade, which are like fantastic movies. But then you just kind of have this, where it's just like, okay. But even then, I kind of like Topaz like slightly more than this. I mean, again, not my favorite Hitchcock movie for sure. And up next we have Dead Men Don't Wear Plaid, starring Steve Martin. And this isn't exactly a well-known film, for sure. So I'm going to guess many of you probably don't know what this is. So what this is a movie with Steve Martin. He plays a detective. It's all filmed in black and white. But it's sort of almost a collage film, so everybody he's like talking with is from like film noirs and black and white movies from like years past. So he talks to like Cary Grant, Humphrey Bogart, Ingrid Bergman, James Cagney, stuff like that. Even Bette Davis too, even though technically they would have been long done by that point. And of course, this was a no-brainer too, being that it is one of my favorite movies of all time. We have Star Trek II: The Wrath of Khan. Unfortunately, the first like 2 to 3 minutes of the movie doesn't work, so I do have to like skip over to it every time the opening logos begin because, well, I just lose picture and signal and who knows what else as a result. But regardless, at least I'm able to play the rest of the movie. And I actually have the VHS with the same kind of cover too. So probably same home video release, and I'm going to be using this as a demonstration later. More on that in a bit. Now we're really getting into the meat of things. This one didn't have a cover other than what's presented on here. But I'll put the label up. Hopefully you can see it. We have some Nazi war crime trials. And this one was very interesting. And of course that was one where it's like, yeah, I'm definitely interested in that. That's worth picking up. So, oh yeah, that's right. We got a little... We don't have an actual like cover for it, but we'll at least provide one of these in the box. So I'm not sure how much in Nuremberg they're going to be like showing in here, but I'm definitely going to be watching that soon. Next we have the old sci-fi film Things to Come. Sci-fi movie from the 30s, what they thought was going to happen in the future. But now I'm definitely going to have to watch it and see how much of it is actually accurate, how much of it actually stands up. So I'm very interested to think what this movie predicts and what we actually got. But you know what? It's not a bad thing. People were definitely more optimistic about the future than what we are now. Definitely for sure. I mean, just look at movies like Back to the Future 2. I mean, some of it they technically got right. It's just others, well, might have jumped the gun as far as like flying cars and other things are concerned. Next up we have The Bridge on the River Kwai, acclaimed movie from the 1950s from Alec Guinness. You'll remember him as Obi-Wan Kenobi, and, well, also from Lawrence of Arabia, if you've watched that. So it has a very nice box, too. It really keeps the tape safe in there. You know what, I don't really have anything else to say about the movie off the top of my head, so we're just going to mosey on to the next one. Next up, we have the original Midway film, World War II film. And I said the original one because I guess they remade it at some point. But from what a history professor I had, he did not say nice things about it when he brought it up. So I'm going to guess it's either not very historically accurate or maybe it's just not a good film, period. I don't know. So I don't really know too much about it anyway, so might as well just give it a watch and see what's up. It looks interesting enough anyway. Oh yes, and here's a very, very controversial film from its time. We have The Day After. For any of you that might remember seeing this on the television back in the day, scared a lot of people in the 80s for sure. And this is, I think, they released it again for theaters, so I'm guessing this is probably not the TV version then. This is probably what they released after the fact. So I'm going to have, if it is floating around out there, the original TV version, then I'm definitely going to have to find it. Who knows? Maybe somebody has an original recording off of it on tape with commercials and all. So if that's the case, then I'm definitely interested in picking that up. This is another beta with this cover because, well, it didn't have one. So I'm just going to bring it out. We have here, it's McLintock. So it's a John Wayne Western. Another one of these. So, not sure why it doesn't, like, have a cover at all. Maybe it's just not like a super big film. I don't know. I should have wrote this with the other World War II stuff. That's my bad. We have The Boot, also known in Germany as Das Boot. And this is actually from their perspective. What was it? I'm trying to see. Yeah, German U-boats. So, honestly, I've never seen a World War II film from the Axis side of things, so I don't know how positively or negatively they're gonna paint their experience, but we'll see. I also have this movie on CED, but I gotta give it a watch. It's Stalag 17. Dad was at least familiar with this movie, but I am not super familiar. So, but I also guess I have a decision to make. Which one do I start watching on at first, Betamax or CED? You take the pick, I guess. And again, this is another movie that I really should have put with the other John Wayne movie. We have Angel and the Bad Man. I'm not super familiar with this John Wayne one as well. Although, of course, it is a Western with John Wayne, so of course I'm going to pick it up. I'm probably going to save this for last as far as movies I've not seen because we've got some mold on this one. So I'm definitely going to have to be very careful with it. I'm probably going to have to run the cleaner good too when I'm done playing this movie. Because if you see like that white mold on the side of the tape, I mean, my Predator VHS doesn't really like have a severe problem when I play it, but it is something to be very cautious about. It could affect your playhead somehow. We have Dragon Slayer here too. I've not seen this. Pretty nice special effects epic of its time. I'm pretty sure some of the, I think some of the special effects artists from Industrial Light and Magic also helped with this film too. I don't think they actually helped make the film. But yeah, looks almost brand new, or at least it just has been barely used. So that's nice too. The next to last one we have Fantastic Voyage. Oh yeah, on the back here you can see their advertising for other movies on Veda from Magnetic Video. I think it was one of the first distributors or rental stores, I think. So this tape might be from very early on. Who knows? So here's the tape itself. So it's got like this is. I think this isn't the only one that has the white cover on top. So I'm gonna have to like ask somebody what that's all about. Last but not least, also have this on VHS. Just watched recently. It's very good. We have Witness. Hollywood movie about Harrison Ford and his encounters with the Amish after one of them witnesses a murder in the city. Unfortunately, I don't know how much I'm going to be able to play this tape because it's also worn out and fluttery, which is the same problem I had. I used to have the John Carpenter movie Christine, but I've only seen like the first like 30 minutes of it because, well, it just kind of had a similar problem and it became unwatchable to watch the movie. So, I don't know, this might be a watch once in this format kind of deal. I don't know. Here we are. This is all the betas I currently own right now. Tape cleaners in the pile too, but that doesn't count really. So I mentioned earlier with The Wrath of Khan, I also have the same copy of that tape on VHS, and of course it's disputed among many VHS and beta people, which is actually the highest quality format. For the most part, it is beta. It is supposed to have slightly better picture quality, but the sound is pretty much the same. Also have the beta player hooked up through the VCR because that's how I'm able to use it. Now, granted, it looked a lot worse when I had the gray unit out. Now I have a new one with some more advanced playheads. The beta player looks like much better, like quality-wise. So I'm able to like pick up a lot more. It did sort of the when I hooked it up to the other one, it had the blinds sort of almost. I don't know. Maybe I'm talking gibberish or something, I don't know, but it made the video quality look a lot worse. So now I have it looks about equal-ish, but I'm going to play some snippets from the Wrath of Khan, and you'll be the judge of whether or not it looks, beta looks better or worse in VHS. Now, granted, beta has been known to maybe degrade maybe a little faster than VHS, and they're just not as well taken care of in addition to that. And I'm assuming the beta copy of Wrath of Khan also just has more wear and tear on it than maybe the other tapes, but again, we'll let y'all be the judge of that. So we're going to be playing some snippets, and we will see which one has better quality. So, here we go.
Voice change projected.
Captain, I'm getting something on the distress channel.
On speakers.
Imperative. This is the Kobayashi Maru. 19 periods out of Altair 6. We have struck a gravitic mine.
Voice change projected.
Captain, I'm getting something on the distress channel.
On speakers.
Imperative. This is the Kobayashi Maru. 19 periods out of Altair 6. We have struck a gravitic...
Estimating 2 minutes to intercept. Now entering the neutral zone.
Warning, we have entered neutral zone. We are now in violation of treaty, Captain.
Estimating 2 minutes to intercept. Now entering the neutral zone.
Warning, we have entered neutral zone. We are now in violation of treaty, Captain.
Fire all phasers.
No power to the weapons, Captain.
Captain, it's no use. We're dead in space.
Activate escape pods. Send out the log buoy. All hands abandoned ship. Repeat. All hands abandoned ship.
All right, open her up. Prayer, Mr. Savick. The Klingons don't take prisoners. Lights. Captain?
Physician, heal thyself.
Is that all you gotta say? What about my performance?